Imagine having, like, a perfectly intelligent day. You're articulate, you're sharp.
You are entirely in your element.
Exactly. You are managing your life, your work, just totally with ease. And then without any warning, you have to switch from your native language to English.
Oh, the horror.
Right. Suddenly, it feels like your brain just forcefully uninstalled half its IQ points.
Just deleted them. Gone.
You open your mouth, and instead of the capable adult you are, what comes out is, well, pure panic.
It is so painful.
It really is. I'm Carol, by the way.
And I'm Sam. Welcome to the Funlish Show.
Learn English with laughter. Today, we are going on a deep dive to figure out why feeling dumb in a second language actually has absolutely nothing to do with your intelligence.
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
It is all about a really bizarre psychological trap.
Yes, a trap that completely hijacks your nervous system. We are going to unpack what's actually happening in your head when the words just refuse to form, and, more importantly, how to break free.
But a quick warning for everyone listening, holding up this mirror might be a little cringy.
Oh, it's going to hurt a little, but in a good way.
Yeah, because diagnosing the symptom accurately is literally the only way to cure the disease.
So true. Let's start with diagnosing, because the source material we're diving into today highlights these painfully relatable scenarios.
Scenarios that I guarantee every single listener has experienced.
Let's start with the one that I think hurts the absolute most. Picture this. You're hanging out with a group of friends.
Okay, setting the scene.
In your native language, whether that's Bangla, Spanish, Arabic, whatever, you are the undisputed joker of the group.
You own the room.
You own it. Your timing is flawless. Your sarcasm is biting. You are effortlessly funny.
Right, because you are operating at the absolute peak of your social hierarchy. Language isn't just about sharing facts there.
No, it's your entire vibe.
Exactly. It's a vital tool for building connection, showing off your social intelligence, and asserting your identity.
But then the context shifts. A new person joins the group, they only speak English, and you have to switch. Boom. That charismatic joker just evaporates into thin air. You stop being the life of the party, and you suddenly become like a background character in a video game.
An NPC. A non-playable character.
Yes, you are an NPC. You just stand there in the corner, smiling quietly, maybe nodding along, with absolutely zero personality.
The speed of that transition is what's so wild. I mean, 1 second you're the main character, the protagonist, and the next you are literally just the furniture.
It's so humiliating. Why does that happen so fast?
Well, internally, your brain has shifted into this state of intense self-surveillance. You are suddenly watching yourself from the outside, terrified of making a mistake.
Ah, so you're not even in the conversation anymore.
Right. The cognitive load shifts from actually being present and listening to frantically monitoring your own output.
Which perfectly leads to the terrifying workplace version of this. We actually had some listener stories about this that were just so embarrassing.
Oh, the Zoom meeting stories. They're brutal.
Brutal. So picture this listener story. You're sitting in a virtual meeting. Someone brings up a complex problem, and you have this crystal clear, brilliant, strategically perfect idea in your head.
The total game changer of an idea.
Yeah, like Harvard Business Review level stuff. So you hit the unmute button.
And you sound like a broken robot.
A completely broken robot. The grammar tangles, the vocabulary just vanishes, and your brilliant strategy sounds like a toddler demanding a snack.
It is so savage. And this happens because your working memory essentially just crashes.
Crashes like an old computer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you hit unmute, the anxiety of that social self-monitoring overwrites your actual brain power. You aren't just trying to share an idea anymore.
What are they trying to do then?
Well, your brain is simultaneously trying to translate concepts, retrieve vocabulary, monitor grammar rules, evaluate everyone's facial expressions on the screen.
My gosh, yes. Looking at all the little boxes.
Right, and judge your own performance in real time. It is a massive computational overload.
And the immediate internal reaction when you finally finish speaking and hit mute again, it's just this overwhelming wave of shame.
Just pure agony. Congratulations, you just sounded stupid.
You just sit there staring at your webcam, literally praying your Wi-Fi will drop so you can disappear.
Please, let the router die.
But wait, there is a third scenario. The delayed reaction phenomenon, or the broken record.
Oh, this one is a classic.
You are talking to a foreigner, and you understand everything they're saying. Like, comprehension is at 100%. You get their jokes, you track their arguments.
But then they pause.
Yes, they
Yeah.
pause. It is your turn to reply, and your brain just packs its bags and goes on vacation.
It's just gone.
Yeah.
Because passive reception is vastly different from active production.
So true.
When the demand shifts from simply understanding incoming data to actively producing language under pressure, the system halts. The brain just freezes up.
So you just turn into a broken record, you nod vigorously, and just repeat, yes, yes, nice, very good.
Just surviving the interaction.
Barely. You walk away, and then 2 hours later, you're like washing the dishes. The pressure is entirely gone, and boom.
Your brain hands you the absolute perfect, witty, eloquent reply.
2 hours too late.
By which point, the conversation is ancient history. But, it perfectly demonstrates how pressure and context inhibit your abilities. It's not a lack of knowledge.
The vocabulary was always in there.
Always. It was just locked behind a massive wall of stress.
So, to everyone listening, think about your own life right now. Which of these hits closest to home for you? Are you the video game character hiding in the corner at parties?
Or the broken robot in the Zoom meetings.
Or are you the person doing the dishes while thinking of great comebacks? Identifying your specific pain point really highlights exactly where your block gets triggered.
Absolutely. And if we know all the words and we understand the grammar, it just seems ridiculous that we lose the ability to use them.
It does, but our sources point to this concept called the language ego and a phenomenon called identity disruption.
Right. This is where it gets really interesting.
So if I'm breaking this down in simple English, is this the idea that my ego, my actual sense of self, is literally tied to the vocabulary I have in my native language?
That is exactly the core psychological mechanism. Just think about your mother tongue for a second.
I'm thinking about it.
In that language, your full complex personality is alive. Your specific brand of humor, your empathy, your intelligence, they all flow effortlessly.
Because I've been using it my whole life.
Exactly. The language and your identity have completely fused together over decades.
Like, I know exactly which syllables to stress if I want to sound sassy or sarcastic. I have my professional vocabulary locked and loaded to sound super competent at work.
But in English, that confident, fully realized self is locked in a room.
Just trapped.
Trapped.
Yeah.
You simply don't possess the linguistic tools to let them out yet. And psychologists call this identity disruption.
Identity disruption. Wow.
Yeah. Because you can't fully express your complex self, your brain perceives a sudden, massive drop in social status. You literally feel smaller, less funny, and less intelligent.
Okay, I have to push back here a little bit.
Go for it.
I get that my brain is monitoring my status, but I don't really buy that this is some deep identity disruption. Like, if I go out and try to play tennis and I am terrible at it, which I am,
Here.
I don't have an identity crisis. I don't feel like a smaller person. I just say, well, I need more practice at tennis. So why is language treated so differently by the brain?
That is a great question. It's because swinging a tennis racket isn't how you signal your place in the human tribe.
Oh,
Language is.
exactly. Evolutionary psychology tells us that humans are uniquely social creatures. Historically, our survival depended on our standing within the group.
And we negotiate that standing by talking.
Entirely through communication. If you're bad at tennis, it doesn't threaten your ability to connect with others, share ideas, or defend yourself socially.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. When I can't speak well, I am basically stripped of my primary social defense mechanisms. The cognitive dissonance is exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. You are a 25-year-old adult. You have a job, you pay taxes, you navigate complex relationships.
I do adult things.
But the second you speak English, your restricted vocabulary makes you feel like a nervous 10-year-old trying to impress a room full of adults.
That is so accurate, it hurts.
You know you're 25 inside, but all anyone else sees is the struggling 10-year-old.
That makes a terrifying amount of sense. The brain is treating a grammar mistake like a literal threat to my survival in the group.
It is initiating a freeze response.
So the fear center of the brain takes over and basically says, if I can't be my brilliant, witty self, it is safer to just shut down and be an NPC.
Precisely. Your brain processes social rejection in many of the exact same neural pathways that process physical pain.
No way. Physical pain.
Yes. It is trying to protect you from the perceived humiliation of not sounding as smart as you actually are. It's a biological defense mechanism.
Our brains are simultaneously so advanced and so incredibly unhelpful sometimes.
Highly unhelpful.
But wait, if we know logically that this is just a defense mechanism, like a grammar mistake isn't going to actually get us kicked out of the tribe, why is this trap so hard to escape?
This is where the source material drops a pretty heavy truth bomb.
A total roast, honestly. It argues that most of us aren't actually bad at English. We're just completely addicted to looking perfect.
We are addicted to perfectionism. That is what weaponizes the language ego against us.
It's so true. We are obsessed with curating this flawless image of ourselves. We want every sentence to be grammatically flawless, spoken with a perfect accent, delivered with effortless charm.
And the second we realize we cannot guarantee that outcome, we pull the plug. We just say, I refuse to let anyone see me struggle.
We would literally rather stay completely quiet, maintain our silent NPC status, and let people assume we're smart than actually speak up and risk looking
The
average.
paradox here is crazy. The more you care about appearing intelligent, the stronger the trap becomes.
Wait, really? So the people who suffer the most are the ones with the highest internal standards?
Absolutely. They are paralyzed by the gap between their high cognitive ability and their current expressive capability. They just cannot tolerate sounding less intelligent than they know they are.
Wow. That completely flips how we think about language learning.
How so?
Well, it means the people who improve the fastest aren't necessarily the ones with the highest IQs or the ones who memorize the most flashcards.
Oh, definitely not.
The ones who learn the fastest are simply the ones who are okay with sounding a little stupid at the beginning. They are willing to sacrifice their short-term ego for long-term growth.
They tolerate the discomfort of identity disruption. They recognize their language ego is bruised, but they do not let the fear center dictate their behavior.
They speak through the freeze response.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the practical side of this deep dive. How do we actually rewire our brains to let our real personality shine through?
How do we bypass that fear?
Right. The sources outline a few really actionable solutions. The first major shift is all about acceptance, specifically accepting the baby version of yourself.
This is such a fundamental psychological baseline. You just have to stop demanding that you instantly manifest the exact same personality in English that you have in your native language.
But it feels like mourning a loss. I want to be me. I want my sarcasm and my nuance right now.
You do kind of have to mourn it. Think of your linguistic identity like a neural network that took decades to build in your native tongue.
Decades of practice.
Yeah. And now you are trying to build a parallel network in a new language. It simply requires thousands of hours of vocalization to thicken those neural pathways so they can carry your complex humor.
So for now, you just have to give yourself grace and accept that you communicate in shorter, simpler sentences.
Except the baby version.
Okay, so once we accept that we're in the building phase, we need a way to prove to our brain that making mistakes is safe. Our sources suggest a role-play challenge.
This is my favorite part. It's essentially practicing being imperfect on purpose.
Being imperfect on purpose, I love that.
It's classic exposure therapy applied to language.
So the idea is to go into a low-stakes environment, right? Like ordering a complicated coffee or asking a stranger for directions.
Yep, somewhere where the outcome doesn't really matter.
And you intentionally say a sentence, even if you know it has a flaw. You challenge yourself to just push the words out of your mouth without running them through your internal perfection filter first.
Because you are systematically proving to your brain that a linguistic error does not result in social death.
You stumble over the pronunciation, but the barista hands you the coffee anyway.
You mess up the preposition, but the stranger still points you toward the train station. You survive.
And surviving those tiny manufactured failures builds actual confidence. True confidence doesn't mean knowing you'll be perfect.
No, it means knowing you can handle being imperfect.
If you wait until you feel confident to start speaking, you are going to be waiting forever. Confidence comes from action, not from waiting around.
But, intentionally making mistakes at a coffee shop is great for a one-off ego check. To really sustain this adaptation, the brain needs regular, low-stress repetitions.
So we need a routine.
Exactly. This is where creating a daily judgment-free zone comes into play.
A space where the language ego can just take a little nap. What does that actually look like in practice?
Well, it means removing the social evaluation metric entirely. You might just talk out loud to yourself while cooking dinner.
Like, I am chopping the onions. The onions are making me cry.
Exactly. Or you might record your own voice on your phone, describing your day for 2 minutes, and then immediately delete it.
Oh, I like the deleting part. No evidence.
No evidence at all. Or you find a language exchange partner who is also struggling, someone who absolutely won't trigger your status anxiety.
So by doing that, you're separating the physical mechanics of speaking from the emotional weight of being judged.
Just like a musician practicing scales alone in their room before stepping onto a stage.
That makes total sense. You need a space where the brain can build muscle memory without the fear center hijacking everything.
Which leads to the final and arguably most powerful tool we have today. It's a mental reframe rooted in cognitive behavioral therapy.
This one is huge. It is all about changing the internal story you tell yourself the exact moment you make a mistake.
Because the narrative you run in your head dictates your body's physical response.
Think back to the broken robot in the Zoom meeting. When you finish speaking and hit mute, the automatic thought is almost always, I sound stupid.
We have to catch that thought. Instead of telling yourself, I sound stupid, change the internal narrative to, my English personality is still loading.
My English personality is still loading. I am obsessed with that.
It's a phenomenal shift. Because I sound stupid is a fixed mindset. It implies a permanent state of inadequacy.
Right. It triggers shame, which just reinforces the freeze response and makes you want to hide forever.
But my English personality is still loading implies a process.
It acknowledges the current limitation without attaching it to your core worth as a human.
It tells your brain, hey, we aren't there yet, but the data is downloading. It's just going to take a little more time.
That drastically reduces the anxiety because it removes the finality of the judgment. It replaces shame with patience.
And the more you speak through that discomfort, the faster your real personality will transfer over.
Even when it feels incredibly awkward, it's like a muscle that only grows when it's under tension. You just have to trust that your wit, your humor, your intelligence, they are all still there.
They haven't gone anywhere. They just need a new linguistic bridge to cross over.
And you build that bridge by speaking clumsily at first, but with increasing stability over time.
It is such a profound realization when you finally separate your innate intelligence from your current level of fluency.
So to summarize the core realization of today's deep dive, feeling dumb in a second language is absolutely not a lack of intelligence.
You did not lose half your IQ points.
It is just the language ego trap. It is identity disruption, making you feel small because you cannot be your full, complex self yet.
The trap is powered by perfectionism, and the only way out is through acceptance and action.
We really want you to actively reflect on this. If you have a friend who is hilarious in their native language but suddenly gets quiet and acts like an NPC in English, share this deep dive with them.
Yes, send them the link. Let them know they aren't alone and they aren't losing their edge.
And please, drop a comment below and just type me if you feel less confident and funny in English than in your native language. We want to see how many of us are in the exact same boat.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to The Funlish Show for more deep dives. Acknowledging the trap really is the first step to dismantling it.
Exactly. Keep speaking. Your real self is coming back. Bye.
Keep speaking. Your real self is coming back. Bye.
Wait, before we officially wrap up, we want to leave you with one final thought-provoking question to mull over today.
Oh, a little something extra.
We've spent this whole time talking about how our identity gets locked away when we change languages. But if our entire personality, our sense of humor, and our very confidence can shift so drastically just by changing the vocabulary and grammar we use.
What does that actually say about who we truly are?
Exactly. Are we the thoughts and feelings deep inside our heads, or are we ultimately just the words we use to express them to the world?